In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
Hey, this is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, now called Fort Liberty, but I'm not going to call it that ever. All right, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone, nation, territory you're in. So it's another episode of what? Yes, escaping the legal matrix. How to be free of the bondage. And what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about a very, very serious problem, and it is a serious problem. And I want you to think about this. It's your life hangs in the balance. Say it again. Your life hangs in the balance, or my life hangs in the balance. So remember, as we've been going along here in Escape the Legal Matrix, we've been talking about 5 domains: body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment. And remember, passion, passion is what fuels those domains in order to get you to fulfillment. And fulfillment is when you go through these domains and fulfillment, there is a process in every domain that you go through, and there's going to be pain involved. Anytime you rise, anytime you build something great, which is you, there's going to be some pain in it, and you have to learn to embrace the pain. But you also have to know the difference between good pain and bad pain, because there is bad pain. And I want to cover with you about this thing called balance, and especially lawyer well-being. And just over the last 2 days, I've been in intense meetings with men and women, very, very powerful in these domains, okay? And one of the, we talked about balance as each of us is rising and building something new with our businesses, and I'm building Legal Warrior. And I looked over to my left, and there's this fantastic report that comes out each year, usually about November, December, from the American Bar Association. Now, if you're not familiar with the American Bar Association, it is a voluntary organization for lawyers across the nation or the world, okay? Housed and, organized here in the United States. And they have hundreds of thousands of members. I don't know the exact. But anyway, they publish this annual study, and it's all the statistics and the demographics of the legal profession. It's one of the it's a superb report. And in one of the sections in this ABA report that just came out, or comes out every year, is about lawyer well-being. And I began to read this, and I have this in front of me, and I think it's critical. It's absolutely critical to get this right. And so I want to make sure I give the proper credit. I don't want to plagiarize like some of our leaders in our nation do. But I want you to listen to some of these statistics because, it's so telling. It's so telling. And when statistics are based on truth, and these statistics are based on lawyers actually responding to surveys, man, it's just stunning. It's sobering. So listen to this. Again, this is from the ABA annual study. It came out November, December 2023. And I will quote to some of the journals they quote from some of the studies. But listen to this. Lawyers are twice as likely as non-lawyers to think about suicide, according to a 2023 study in the journal Healthcare. 2023. That's recent, okay? The study called, quote, Stressed, Lonely, and Overcommitted Predictors of Lawyer Suicide Risk, unquote, found that male lawyers who work long hours, and young lawyers are at increased risk of suicidal thoughts. Young lawyers, get that for all you law students and brand new lawyers out there that have just passed the bar or maybe in your first few years, okay? You're at an increased risk of suicidal thoughts. The survey of 1,962 lawyers found that 8.5% reported thoughts that they would be better off dead or of hurting themselves. Man. By comparison, now comparing to non-lawyers, 4.3 of all the adults in the U.S. have thought about suicide, according to a recent national study from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That's half. And they're non-lawyers. Man, listen to that. That's telling. Male lawyers are somewhat more likely to think about suicide than female lawyers, 9.1% versus 7.8% in the study, according to the healthcare study. Also, listen to this. Younger lawyers are more likely to think about suicide than older lawyers. For example, more than 14% of lawyers aged 30 or younger. Let me say that again. For example, more than 14% of lawyers aged 30 or younger thought about suicide, compared with nearly 7% of lawyers in their 40s and nearly 9% of lawyers in their 50s. Wow. And listen to this as this report continues on from the ABA, citing these studies. The problem is most acute among junior law firm associates. Most acute among junior law firm associates. More than 14% of junior associates reported thinking about suicide. Roughly twice as much as senior associates, 7%, junior partners at 8%, senior partners at 6%, and managing partners at 7%. Now, this next paragraph is something I want you to really focus on. Listen to this. Whoa. Suicidal thoughts are also slightly more common among lawyers at private law firms than in other legal settings. More than 9% of lawyers at private law firms said they had thought about suicide, compared with 8.3% of in-house counsels at corporations and for-profit organizations, and 7.5% of in-house counsels at government, public interest, and nonprofit offices. Sole practitioners in private practice were least likely to think of suicide at 6.6%. Let me say that again. Sole practitioners in private practice were least likely to think of suicide at 6.6%. It goes on to say lawyers who work very long hours are also more prone to suicidal thoughts, according to the study. Nearly 15% of lawyers who work 61 hours or more per week have thought of suicide. That's nearly double the rate for lawyers who work 31 to 50 hours a week at 8%. Wow. Just, 21 or 11 more hours a week doubles your thoughts of committing suicide. Wow. Finally, 2/3 of lawyers who thought about suicide, 66% said that their time, oh my God, listen to this, said their time in the legal profession has been detrimental to their mental health. Only, the keyword, only 27% of lawyers who had not thought of suicide said the same thing. Wow. And listen to this when it breaks down between women and men in this ABA study. Oh, man. Female lawyers were more likely to experience stress, anxiety, and depression than male lawyers, and were more likely to engage in hazardous drinking. According to a 2020 survey of nearly 3,000 attorneys sponsored by the California Lawyers Association and the DC Bar. This same survey also found that more women than men, 24% versus 17%, considered leaving the legal profession due to mental health problems, burnout, or stress. Oh, man. Now, listen to these next statistics, okay? According to the survey, 2/3 of women, 67%, reported moderate or severe stress, compared with less than half of men, 49%. Nearly 1/4 of women, 23%, reported moderate or severe anxiety, compared with 15% of men. 1 in 5 women, 20%, reported moderate or severe depression compared with 15% of men. 1/3 of women, 34%, reported hazardous drinking compared with 25% of men. Hazardous drinking, this is what it says, is measured on a scale that depends on how often one drinks, how many drinks one has, and when one drinks, and how often one has 6 or more drinks on one occasion. That's pounding the liquor. Wow. The survey concluded that women who experienced more conflicts between work and family were 4 times more likely to leave the legal profession or consider leaving due to mental health issues, burnout, and stress. Work-family conflict was also a significant factor for men, but less so, the study found. Wow. Man, that's just, these statistics. I mean, look, let's face it. Even one person committing suicide is one too many. It's horrible. I have personally known at least 3 or more easily of my close friends that I either grew up with, went to college with, or practiced law with that committed suicide. Here in my home city, I personally knew 1, 2, 3, at least 3 or 4 attorneys that killed themselves. One of them was a very close friend of mine, and his law partner is one of my best friends. And I remember, you know, he'd gone through a divorce, but this guy was funny. He was just a decent guy, and one of the most welcoming attorneys when I first started out here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I remember he called me on a Friday night, and we were talking for a while, and I could tell he was pretty down, but I didn't know how severe it was. I knew that he drank a lot. He had been dating somebody and seemed to be happy in a relationship, but I didn't know that she had broken up with him. And he was already divorced. And his ex-wife was an attorney too. And the next morning, Saturday morning, excuse me, I got a call from his law partner who told me that he had shot himself. And he was still in really the prime of his life. And I just sat there on the phone. I just sat there stunned because I had just spoken to him the night before. And I just, you know, when people are gone, when they're gone, they're not coming back. And it can lead to well, it doesn't lead, it leaves a void in your life. They're not there to talk to anymore, to laugh with, to have dinner with, or lunch, or a cookout, or 10 so. I mean, they're just not there. They're gone. And the only thing you have left is a memory, maybe some photographs, but they're gone. I mean, death is real. It's real. Nobody escapes it. The only thing we don't know is the minute, the hour, the day, and the year of when we're going to die. Only God knows that. But some people make a choice to make it sooner rather than later. And life is short enough. And I sat there and I still sit here today. And I'm like, how incredibly sad. How incredibly sad it is that a person can get to the point in their life that they kill themselves. And what is even more incredibly sad, when I read this study from the ABA, that a high percentage of lawyers with suicidal thoughts are those under 30. Now, remember, most people, if they go straight from undergrad, they're usually 22 and they graduate. Law school's 3 years and they're 25. That means that's a 5-year window. What is it that happens in 5 years that makes a young man or woman take their life or even think about it? See, this is what I'm trying to tell you about the legal matrix. The legal profession is the legal matrix. It seeks to control every aspect of your life, in body, in being, in balance, in business and fulfillment. If you look around at some of the lawyers that have been engaged in the practice of law for a number of years or decades, a lot of them, honestly, they look like the living dead. They're not taking care of their body. They don't have good balance with their spouse, significant other, their children, or their friends. They don't have any relationship to God at all. They shoot him away long ago, and their businesses are tanking. They have no fulfillment. They don't have any passion. None. They lost it because they let the legal matrix grind them to nothing. And this is why, for me, a couple of years ago, I joined the organization Wake Up Warrior, founded by Garrett J. White. Okay, I did. And it's not this happy clappy. It's about telling the truth, living in truth, stopping the lying, doing the work. It's not fill in a blank. It is a daily code of living. It is a way of living, of building in all of these domains. And see, that's what escaping the legal matrix is all about. If you're this young lost, and if you're just young lawyer, you've got to look in the mirror. You have to be totally and brutally honest with yourself. What are the facts today, right now, in every one of these domains? In body, are you in shape, or are you boozing it up and you don't work out? In being, do you have any relationship with God at all? Any. In balance, is your marriage on the rocks? Is your relationship with your girlfriend or boyfriend on the rocks? What about with your children, your friends, your siblings? Are you in a toxic relationship that needs to go? And in business, I mean, if you're an associate, are you making the cut? You getting the billable hours, or are you just slaving away and somebody else is making the money? Or if you're on your own, where are you? I mean, are you on the brink of having these type of thoughts? I mean, I've been practicing law for a long, long time. And there have been days it's been great. And there have been days, man, I'll tell you what, I wanted to get in my truck, honest to God, get in my truck, get my dog, and just head to the West Coast, the Pacific Ocean. Just drive across the country, meet new people, and just leave the law firm, leave the legal profession all behind. Just want to leave it behind. Because, see, the legal profession is the legal matrix, if you allow it to be that way. And it boxes you in. And it makes the bar associations and then the state bars which license you, they're always, let's have a program on substance abuse and mental health and blah, blah. But it doesn't tackle the issue. It never tackles the issue. I have not seen one continuing legal education, not one, that saved a lawyer's life when they were contemplating or actually committed suicide. Not one. I have yet to see that happen. I've yet to see that happen because it takes action by the individual. And when you get to that point, somehow when people get to the point of taking their life, something's been going on for a long time. And either people didn't notice because the person that ultimately commits suicide is great at pretending and they're not living in truth. This is why it's critical for Legal Warrior, which I'm building, that we get to young law students and young lawyers right now, or even lawyers, no matter what age you are, and start living in truth. Because you have to save yourself. Now, I'm not putting people down that are depressed or on medication. I mean, sometimes these medications make it worse. I mean, every time I watch a commercial and it gets to the end and the side effects, the side effects are worse than what the problem is. I mean, I'm like, what the hell is the FDA doing? I mean, when you hear that voice just sputter across the screen and just read all that fast, side effects include blah, 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 blah. By the time they get done with the laundry list of 30 horrible side effects, you're like, what the hell? Why would I want to take that? I have found in my life, for example, in body, working out. When I go to work out and I do it right, and then after I shower up and I get dressed, I am weaponized for the day. I feel tons better. When I don't work out, I feel horrible. I feel lethargic. I don't have clarity. I don't have focus. And, when I'm fighting with family members or, people who are toxic in my life, it drains you. Then you can't have balance. Your balance just goes out the window. And in business, come on, you have to be honest. Your numbers are not going to lie. You're either bringing in the cash or you're not. But if your other domains are so screwed up, how can you possibly walk in and think that you're going to build a business? Because most people, most law students and lawyers, they don't have the skill sets. They don't know. Why don't they know? Because law schools don't teach that. Law schools are only teaching you academic courses to get you ready to do what? To pass a bar exam. And listen, Most of you are going to take the bar prep course, you law students. Think about that. You spent 3 years in law school. You would think the law schools, would get you ready for the bar exam itself without you having to pay $5,000 or $10,000 more for a bar prep course. It's ridiculous. And then you take the bar prep course. I mean, if you're going to spend money like for the LSAT prep and then for the bar prep, why aren't you going to hire somebody like me who has extensive experience in the legal profession and fighting the legal matrix to give you the skill sets and the path to the possibilities of opening, owning, operating, and leading your own law firm on your terms? How many more days, months, and years are you going to slave away for somebody else? How many more hours, days, weeks, months, years are you going to slave away to the legal matrix till one day you're just sitting there in a bed with a gun in your hand, contemplating pulling the trigger? This is a serious subject. This is something to make light of, and I'm not making light of it. It's horrible. I mean, I just sit there. Even when I look in the entertainment industry of those that commit suicide, I'm like, how does a person get to that point? How do people not see it? And really, what can be done about it? Man, again, all these continuing legal education classes, blah, blah, blah. That is not going to stop it. What's going to stop it is taking clear-cut action. And that's what you have to do. And if you're in that situation now where you're really questioning, should I be at law school? Should I even be a lawyer? Should I stay practicing law? It's a good question to ask. It's the better question. But the best question is, how can I escape the legal matrix and still be a lawyer and still have a life that's thriving and flourishing in body, in being, in balance, in business, and fulfillment? Because you can. Right now, I am fighting the legal matrix, myself, personally and professionally. I'm not doing anything that I'm not advising you to do yourself. I'm in this war and this battle with you. I am. I have extensive experience in it. I mean, there was a time, 5 years ago or more, where I just sat there in my chair and I'm like, man, now I wasn't suicidal, but I hated everything and I hated everybody. I was just fed up with it. I was fed up with the judges, the pinhead lawyers, the constant grind, the requirements, the clients that complained and whined all the freaking time, and we had worked so diligently hard and pulled off miracles. The staff that would, sometimes I had great staff, sometimes they whine and complain too. And I'm like, look, we're building an empire here. You got to make some sacrifices. You want all these bonuses and pay and stuff, we got to get it done. And I just sat there in my chair and I'm like, man, I'm looking out the window and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? And that's the day that I saw that video with Garrett J. White for Wake Up Warrior. And I made a decision. I'm like, I don't know who the hell this guy is and what it is. I'm going to send off for this stuff. And I did. And years later, I am still in Wake Up Warrior. And I am a totally different person. I am transformed. I am not the same man I was 5 years ago. Not even close. Not even close. Night and day. In the way I think, everything I do, how I conduct myself, it's completely different. You don't have to be stuck in the legal matrix. You don't have to be one of these statistics in the ABA study. I don't want to see your name as one of the statistics next November, December of 2024 on the next annual report. Do you? Do you? I mean, think about it. If you've been in relationships, whether dating or marriage, and it was so toxic and you got out, well, when you join the legal profession, you marry to it. Yeah, you are. And it's a jealous mistress. Oh, it is. The Matrix? Oh, yeah. And seriously, you have got to right now, today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, right now, you need to sit there and write down, where are you at in body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment? Seriously, write it down. Is your body a train wreck? Is your balance just all over the place? Do you even know who God is? Do you even care? In business, if you own your own firm already, where are you? What are you doing or not doing? What should you be doing that you're not doing? And what are you not doing that you should be doing? And are you fulfilled? You're only going to get one life. I'm only going to go. That's it. There's no replay. It's not PlayStation where you can press the reset button. It doesn't work that way. And let me tell you, if you know somebody who's taken their life out there, if you know somebody personally, then you understand. Because the only thing you have is when you call their cell phone, assuming it's still working, and you hear their voice on the recording, or you have a photo or a memory, and that's all you have left. Suicide is a horrible thing. It's so tragic. It's just tragic. It's just tragic that a person emotionally and mentally could get to a point where they don't even value their own life. It's just incredibly sad. And last night, as I sat there and thought about it, I thought, what do I need to talk about on the next podcast? And I thought, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait. I want to talk right now. I want to have this conversation. Your life has value. You have value. Don't let the legal matrix destroy your life. You can fight the legal matrix. You can win against the legal matrix. It's going to be a process. There is going to be pain, but you have to embrace that type of pain. It's the pain of growth, not the pain of self-destruction. The pain of growth. Think about when you work out. You have physical pain, but eventually your muscles get toned. You get cut. You feel better. Okay, you look better. You have more confidence. There's a pain associated with the process, but it's a good pain. Okay, it's a good pain. The bad pain is, okay, you're not paying attention and sticking your hand on the frickin' stovetop. Okay, when it's hot. No, not a good thing to do at all. Don't do that. My dog did that one time, jumping up. Never did it again. You know how Labrador retrievers are. They love food. And, nothing's going to stop them from getting the food. So I want you to think about that today. Where are you? Where's your thought process? What are you thinking about? I want you to realize today, right now, I want you to look in the mirror and look at you and just say, look, man, I am important. I have value. Everybody here has a sole purpose. God didn't create human beings for them to destroy each other. And we can get into that discussion too about Satan and God and everything. We can have that discussion. Because if you look at your world today, it's in chaos and a mess. But he gave you free will, and he gave you certain skill sets to live and thrive and to have a great life. Not saying it's going to be a pain-free life, not saying it's going to be easy, but you have value. Every human being on this planet is unique. You have a unique DNA. You do. Okay. I really, really, really want you to do this homework, because this is the most important homework you'll ever do in your life, because your life does hang in the balance. It hangs in the balance, and you have to demand balance. Okay, so that's another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix with yours truly, Bryce D. Nyer, located here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Yep, home of Fort Bragg. Now I call it Fort Liberty, but I'm not going to call that. I'm always going to call it Fort Bragg. So I just want to tell you all, peace be with you. Love and light, and I will catch you all on the next episode of what? Escape the Legal Matrix. This is Bryce D. Nyer, and we are at it!